Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video on the channel. This is my 2024 GOTY. There's been a lot of games that came out in 2024. Admittedly, I didn't play a lot of them. I kind of hit my stride on some of these and then just kind of ran with them. But I just wanted to go over my favorite games of 2024. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys like the content on the channel, hit that sub button. We really appreciate it here on Point in Progress. But here we go. Let's go to number 5. Number 5 on the list for me is Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong was talked about for a long time, and it finally came out in 2024. I had high hopes for this game. I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I was expecting more of a Souls game than more of a Neo kind of type game, but after playing it, I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like it's more of a Neo game than it is a Souls game. It's not a bad thing, but it's not what I expected. The boss battles are top tier, and I think one of the best design fights that a game has had. The journey to the West story intertwined with awesome voice acting and epic bosses, and story moments that kind of all intertwined together work together so well. I loved all of these set pieces. For their first crack at it, Game Science really nailed it to give the atmosphere of the game. The problems that I have were some of the gameplay aspects of the game itself. The invisible walls are kind of frustrating. The level design is not the best. It's kind of point A to point B for most of it. But then you get Chapter 3. Chapter 3 for the game is kind of where the level design kind of falls through, and I don't think it's good at all. They try to make a bigger sandbox feeling to it, but since the game itself isn't like that and it's not built like that, it doesn't work at all. It's more corridors than anything else, but this is just a bigger sandbox and it just feels like a big slog. I like the game a lot. The atmosphere of this game with the Journey to the West was everything I wanted in it. Afterwards, I did some research on the story, really got into the whole lore of the book and everything. It's a solid game for 2024 if you're looking for something that is more Neo-esque. And if you're looking for that, it's a great pick. Number 4 on my list is a classic. It's Confession Time. I've never played a Kojima game in my life. So number 4 is Metal Gear Solid. I picked a classic game to start off with, one of the first games that Kojima ever made. And to be fair, when I was playing this, I had 2 veterans telling me the lore and the history of the game. So it made the experience a lot better for me. Shout out to Mario and Frank. I love my experience with this game. I totally get the hype and why people love this game and how much praise it gets and why it's on everybody's all-time list, for sure. The voice acting and the lore of the game is awesome, and little gameplay features like switching controller slots from Mantis or even controllers talking about how to play the game in the dialogue of the game itself is such a cool aspect. This is a game that needs a remake, and I think it would be amazing to see. The gameplay parts are dated for sure, but again, this is a PSX game. It came out long time ago, so I can't really fault it for that. The twist of the story keeps you on the edge of your seat, and they just keep coming. The extended cutscenes and voice acting really flesh out the characters and let the scenes breathe, and I love that aspect so much. Not much to talk about this game, but I can't wait to keep going in this series, especially with the remake coming out this year in 2025. Number 3 on my list is Helldivers 2. This game took over my life for a good 3 months, I would say. Spending Democracy with friends was one of the most fun I've had all year. With the drop and drop out gameplay and having able to customize your gameplay to work with friends was so much fun. There's so many different power-ups, different weapons to use for different styles of gameplay. Bringing in different stratagems to aid yourself and kill enemies is a great way to turn the tide of battle. With the addition of friendly fire, it's always chaotic. It's so funny to kill your friends by accident, or maybe sometimes not by accident. You know, you never know. The progression system is very well done as well. They ease you into new stratagems and new weapons, which is great for new players that are jumping in. The mission variety is great. There's a lot of player agency when it comes to the mission. With the addition of mechs, it's a great twist as well, since killing them is done in a whole different way as well. There's so much chaos happening in this game, and I'm here for it. I haven't played this game since about 3 months after it released because of the changes they had and other games kind of taking over, which you'll see on the list coming up. But I would love to jump back in with the new changes and the new faction to fight. So Helldivers 2 is my number 3. My number 2 on the list is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII is a formidable game for me. It was part of my youth. I remember playing it for the first time on PlayStation, and it changed how I viewed video games. I didn't know games could be like this, so that when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I had high expectations, and seeing how they treated the Midgar section of the game. I even had higher hopes for Rebirth because I loved Remake a lot, and they did not disappoint. I love this game from start to finish. I love the story changes that they made to get us to the same place. It's like we took a different path to the same destination. The combat system with the ATB and the real-time action combined together was a treat to play again with the new addition of characters like Yuffie and Kate Sith. I love the addition of the Golden Saucer. I remember going there in the old PlayStation days and playing all the little mini games and seeing those in full PS5 graphics and everything. It was such a memory trip for me. Square Enix really opened the game up and made it kind of a semi-open world game, which I kind of felt in awe when I first got there. When I first get out of Midgar and you get to the grasslands, I'm like, oh my god, this is everything that I want this to be. But it does fall into the same trappings of other open world games with checklist objectives and towers to climb. It does get annoying by the end of it because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, but I can't really fault it too much because it does tell you where the end is with all the little dots every time you finish something on the map. The mini games are great, and I do remember them from the old game as well, but at some point it feels like the game was planned around mini games, and it's kind of annoying a little bit. It would be neat if they just added like a mini game area like Mario Party to the game or something. You do them once and you're good to go, but you have to do them quite a bit in this game. I can't wait to the third game and the conclusion of the trilogy. I was skeptical at the beginning when it first came out or when it was announced, but now I am on board and I cannot wait to see how they conclude the story. I guess giving us more of what the journey will be once we get to that same destination. My number one, it's not a surprise if you know what I like, it's Shadow of the Erdtree. From Software's DLCs are something special. From the Ring City to the Artorias of the Abyss. From Software gives us a peek at their masterclass of level design and boss battles. Shadow of the Erdtree brings that philosophy and runs with it. The way the world is intertwined and the way they use verticality is insane. I remember going over a cliff and wondering if I could go there and saw a furnace golem just sitting over there. And I was like, nah, there's no way I can. There's no way. 30 hours later, I got to that area. The atmosphere is off the charts, and seeing the Land of Shadow with the influence of Miquella is something I've wanted to see from the beginning, and I'm glad they went in that direction. The contrast from Scadu Altus to the huge awe of Dragon Peak to the lush Charos Grave. I love exploring every nook and cranny of this world, and I wanted more of it when I was done. I didn't want this experience to end. The epic boss battles and design are top tier when you have Vallana, Mesmer, Consort, and Midra, four of my favorite bosses of Elden Ring of all time, which really tells you something because there are like 80 something unique bosses in the base game. This is From Software's best DLC they've ever crafted, and I can see why it took them that long. It almost feels like a second game on top of Elden Ring with the amount of content and how dense it is. The new leveling system is something to get used to, but I don't mind it. It gives the game a Sekiro feeling to it. I find it kind of weird with the scaling, though, in the DLC, which is very, very over the top. But I think it starts evening out when you get to about level 12, 13 Scadu level. The way you obtain these are a little obtuse. Some are dropped from bosses, for sure, which is, I think, the best way of doing it. But some are just in random areas of the game. Feels a little out of place, but it does reward exploration, which is something I think they really want people to do in this DLC. There was nothing on this list that was close to this game, by the way. It was very long gap between 1 and 2, but I knew that coming into the DLC. This has been my GOTY for 2024, and I have loved every moment of it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys. If you guys have any other questions, if you guys want to comment on the top 5 games that I have, and what are your guys' GOTY of the year, let me know and let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like the content on this channel, hit that sub button. We at Point in Progress would love you guys to do that. If you guys like this video, hit that like button, and we'll see you again next time.